And welcome back to another Third Age reforged replay of the RP. As you can see, this is a bandit settlement where the legendary king of the bandits, Guro-chan, I have to say that name slowly, otherwise I feel it's offensive to him, or, well, I don't know, is defending a pile of gold from three armies. From the east, Gondor, with its large forces of Gondor infantry, Escalation veterans, Citadel and other units, Mordor with just amounts of Uruks and some elites, and Dale for no apparent reason with archers and an ice clump. So we will go over the forces of Gondor first. As you can see, they have 4 units forming the center line, all of which are Gondor infantry. These men will die in droves, but they will kill some stuff. 2 units of Citadel guards sitting on either side of the infantry, providing some very inspirational support. They have capes, that's their main difference. Behind them, veterans of Escalation. These hardcore guys are pretty dangerous with a sword and bow, and also look like Gondor infantry. Behind them, Los Arnak nobles, Gondor infantry with 2-handed massive axes of death. And Minas Ithil wardens, AP archers that are even better than it. Rangers of Aphelion, and 2 units of Gondor Knight. Well, technically 1 unit of Gondor Knight and 1 unit of Gondor Cav, or bodyguard, on either flank. Next up is the armies of Mordor. As you can see, they are just rushing headlong in a free-for-all scenario. There were no preset alliances, but if you seen the chatter that I seen, you'd understand why me as Dale would make certain moves. So first, we have 4 units of Moran and Orcs. These are heavily armored Orcs from the Black Gate, meant to guard it, but today they're outside trying to capture the gold. 4 units of Moran and heavy Maulers. Same unit, but with bigger axes. That's pretty much it. Behind them, there's the Elites, ? Because we have lesser Balrogs, yes, massive Death Trolls. Uruk archers, not amazing. Temple Guard are pretty good because they have bows that are made of steel. And mounted Temple Inquisitors. They're all pretty cool actually, these guys. Wouldn't want to underestimate them. Of course, the bandit army, you'll see last. Dale, pretty much the army right here. We got a unit of Earls all the way over there. 3 units of Dalian marksmen, including some Dragon Slayers. All of which, pretty powerful archers, then following up with massive, either axes or massive 2-handed swords of death. Behind them, the Dalian Swordmasters, which have more 2-handed swords of death. And 2 units of dismounted Earls. A nice target for any would-be trebuchet, as you can see. That leads us nice into Guro-chan's army, Archangel J-Monster, which has 3 units of Cardinal Footmen. These are pikemen with very light armor, but they're pretty good. 4 shell captains, pretty much like Dalian, yeah, pretty much like Dalian Dragon Slayers, apart from they don't have bows. 2 units of Greenway Guard, very cheap spear infantry. 3 units of battle-ready Dunedain. They're gonna fight today, I'll tell you that. We have 2 units of 4 shell gatekeepers. These are crossbow-wielding halberd infantry hybrid monstrosities that I don't like talking about. Oh wait, 1 unit of Dunedain bodyguard. Yep, another Greenway. 4 shell heavy archers, essentially like the Greenway, or like the 4 shell. Apart from this time, they use bows, and then we got some sword 4 shell. As well as 2 units of bandit javelins and a trebuchet. Right, without any further ado, let's get this battle started, shall we? As you can see, the forces of Mordor are just running headlong in this free-for-all scenario. Whoever wins get 10k worth of money in the RP. And you can see my grouping up strategy hasn't really worked out. And you know, because Mordor was meant... Me and Mordor made a pre-arranged agreement that wasn't passed on to the players, supposedly. So, I don't really know what happened. So, as you can see, I'm pretty back and forth about this, because Gondor's all the way back here. Slowly walking in. Like, they're forming up lines, then they're moving a bit more, then they're forming up lines, then they're moving a bit more. Meanwhile, Mordor is just kind of going in by itself. And while some people say, yeah, Mordor is being really heroic, it's really dumb. Like, this is such a dumb move. Why would you even do this? It's a free-for-all. You're getting cav charge in the rear and your army's split in two. This is horrible. There's no legitimate point. Like, where are these orcs going? Are they going to stop cav? No, they're running to the trees to kill this unit of cav. Yeah, as you can tell, I don't like Mordor that much because of the strategies they are employing. And yeah, they're blaming me for not helping, yet here I am providing arrows to the rear of the bandit javelins and some force shell, which are going to be a big problem later on. But, you know, Guro-chan allows this massive breach to come in, but the player doesn't realize that this is actually either a very well coordinated trap by Guro-chan or just luck. And now you can see these hammer and anvil strikes from frickin' cavalry just hammering in, and yes, he did move up some mounted Temple Inquisitors by themselves, leaving the other 3 units back there as a strategic reserve, too far away to actually interfere in time. Lots of dead orcs for very few mounted ready Dunedain. And yes, 1 unit of Temple Inquisitors versus Dunedain would result in a victory for the Temple Inquisitors. But if you see the sight that I see with 2 units of very angry men approaching to save their allies' life, you understand how dumb of a move this was. In the meantime, Deo's just skirmishing, really. I have my archers doing my thing, slowly firing in. We even got some earls prepping to do a flank. But Gondor, moving up very nicely, forming a line, moving up again. And my forces are just staying well in the back. Like, I know I'm blaming Mordor for keeping reserves in the rear, but look how many men he has committed. Look how many men I have committed. I have a very small force. I got my cavalry over there in case something happens. This is just messy. This is not even a good strategy. I will hammer into Mordor constantly because of the strategies used by Mordor. They did tell me previously and early in the battle that they were going to kamikaze it. But this isn't kamikaze. This is just a waste. Like, yes, you could say that this assault has been successful, as they have made a bridgeway into the enemy's ranks. However, what is not successful is the constant rotation of cavalry assaults that are coming into the rear of these orcs here. And you can see that Guro-chan very wisely using his cav, getting some nice strategic charges on these two-handed wielding monsters, essentially. Losing lots of men for very few casualties in return. And it's only by the arrival of the Knights of Gondor that this assault stops. I think you can understand that from this move alone you can see that Mordor and Gondor are working together. Because why would you make a move like this? I mean, it makes sense. Why wouldn't you just leave Mordor here to suffer, like I have? I mean, I'm getting the hell out of there. I've lost a lot of men, and this is just a waste. This is a legitimate waste. I'm not moving until I see Gondor move. And you can see that the Mordor assault here has been beaten back, but they have killed a good number of them. Percentage not actually showing because there's multiple factions. So you can see these Cardinal footmen alone holding back this entire horde of orc maulers, and these Greenway guards also doing the same. So many men committed to a fight where they can't actually get in. And whilst these Cardinal guard will lose, they're taking a quite good number down. But look at this. Gondor finally moving its butt up at long last, forming more neat lines, making sure that everything's fine for its Gondorian troops. But as you can see, Guro-chan's army just decimating the rear. And yes, I'm hammering into Mordor, because Mordor's strategies are a pile of crap. Look, like now they move in the Balrogs, now they move in the archers. And you could say, oh, that was the counter either Dale or Gondor moving in. Well, if that was to counter Dale or Gondor moving in, then why is Dale all the way back there? They're trying to stay the hell out of this because, you know, it's clear that these two are working together. And why isn't Gondor using this cav to now kill the exposed archers? Like, yes, there's these massive Balrogs here, but Gondor's got more than enough men and resources to deal with those. And yes, you could say it's because Gondor doesn't want to get in a fight, because Dale's sitting out all nice and pretty over there. Understandable. But as you can see, the situation in the center really just going down south for Mordor. Like, they are getting encircled, they are getting surrounded, they are getting pushed back out of the camp. And Gondor is just refusing to aid. Like, yes, they would kill a few Mordor orcs here and there, but surely a flank like this, you know? And the constant cavalry charges from the rear just annihilating any hope for Mordor. Like, they need a general up here, but where's Mordor's general is beyond me. As you can see, the lesser Balrogs now taking up a defensive stance behind Gondor. And, you know, there was the Ostrucks. And yes, I did say to, because this is technically a narrative RP campaign, I did say to the leader of Gondor, which is not Archangel, who is a merc fighting for Mordor, I said, hey, let's work together in this. We defeat Kuro first, and then we defeat Gondor, and then it's a straight fight between me and you. But Archangel, as it turns out, made his own deal with J-Monster. So Archangel, being the ever-skilled player as he's shown here, sending in all his orcs, blames it on Dale for not supporting him. And yes, a good number of Eriador people have died. And you can see trebuchet shots firing there. I mean, most of the fighting's here. And I know you guys love, most Total War players love to see trebuchet shots. You got other channels to view that on. I'm not particularly fussed. When they do happen, I'll put them on. But as you can see, Gondor now finally launching an assault. And I'm kind of like, well, Gondor's in, so I might as well move back, right? No, I'm not moving back. It's quite clear that the intention of Mordor, I will happily beat the crap out of Archangel now. Simply because he's putting all the blame on me for not supporting him. I moved men up. There's dead bodies over there for Dale. Where was Gondor when the Westfold fell, you know? Where was Gondor when all these orcs were getting killed? I mean, it was lazy management on Mordor's part, and it was the fact that Gondor didn't want to move in to mess up his shiny new troops. But now you can see, as a weakened enemy, the orcs are finally getting away. And with this position behind Gondor, I know my opinion's very biased because I actively took part in a battle that I wasn't meant to. Missing one of the best Game of Thrones episodes as well. Here we have just hundreds of orcs just behind Gondor's lines, showing the intention that J-Monster and Archangel are truly allied. And whilst it may make sense, perfect sense in fact, for in this situation, why would Mordor be this wasteful with its men if they weren't allied? I mean, he casually threw away men. And we all made an agreement, yes, and I will admit that I did stay out for the most part of this battle, this bit of the battle. Simply on the grounds that Gondor didn't move in quick enough. But as you can see, I am marching towards the battle now. Very slowly, but surely. I won't form neat lines like Gondor. But as you can see, this battle between Gondor and Eriador is underway, and the casualties are heavy. We got some, well, not bad micro, just unfortunate, really, that they got hit by a trebuchet. Trebuchet being really good at this distance because it can fling down the way, and making it more accurate in this type of situation is bad. Gondor infantry surrounding... Oh, wait, these aren't Gondor infantry. Oh my goodness, they look too much alike. On this flank, we have a unit of 4 shell captains holding out against Citadel Guard and Bandit Javelins, but they are being attacked from the rear by, guess what? Gondor infantry. I know it sounds like I have a really low opinion of Gondor infantry, but they're not terrible, but they're not great either. They're just well armed. I mean, I know that. As you can see, Gondor's cavalry sitting patiently outside. And the trebuchet is just preparing. And where's Dale? Slowly walking. Gondor did it. I see no reason why I can't. And you know, I think they muted me in the chat at this point, because I was complaining that I was missing my Game of Thrones because of it. And to be fair enough, I was pretty hacked off. It was a good episode of Game of Thrones. Like season 7, is it season 7? I think it's season 7. Season 7, episode 5, go and watch that and you understand my outrage of not seeing that on a night and trying to spend the next day avoiding spoilers. Ugh, it's terrible. But as you can see, Gondor's assault proving far more successful than the orcs. I mean, is it because the orcs used up ammo? Possibly. Is it because the orcs actually killed a few people? Possibly. Is it because Gondor just moved in past these narrow choke points? Probably. I mean, Gondor's infantry and army is just so much better for a prolonged melee, you know? Meanwhile, Mordor is just happily sitting in the back, you know, taking pot shots, firing in, even the Gondor's own men. Well, technically, he was aiming for Eriador, but I like saying Gondor because I have a bad opinion of him right now, alright? I need this. This battle does actively marching towards the battle. As you can see, we have marching towards the Bandit King, and Archangel and J-Monster being totally ungrateful for this, because I'm taking my time. Archangel made his choice, J-Monster took his time, so now I'm taking my time. I sent up an expedition to help, didn't want to help, and now it's quite a clear sign that there'll be some disengagements between Gondor, Eriador, and Mordor to deal with Dale. And yes, I do actively say to Eriador, hey, let's stop fighting for a minute, because Gondor's annoyed the hell out of me. So you can see this nice positioning of the Gondor Cav. I think I betray it. Yeah, here they go. Here's my Dale's cavalry. Very lightly armored cavalry, but they hit like a ton of bricks. And now you can see I'm actively hammering into Gondor because of the crap that they've said to me. Because they have an alliance with Archangel, who's meant to be allied to me. So I'm intending to get Gondor angry. I'm intending to get them to pay for the stupidity of their ally. Simply because, look at this! This could have been avoided. But no. Gondor and Mordor insisted. And you know, yes, my cavalry will die. That's because they are light cavalry, and they're not exceptionally good, but they're pretty damn good for their cost. And now we have the armies of Dale forming up over here. And as you can see, I got hundreds of Dalian marksmen pulling back across this hill yet again because of this trebuchet fire. Got some earls that are caught out though, but my cavalry will see off any attempts by Gondor. Yeah. I mean, we'll wait till combat starts a bit more. There's still some fighting in here, but most of it's chilled out now. We have Gondor actively moving into the Bandit King's camp. Oh. There's a moment that you have to wait. You hear the trebuchet shots fire one more time. I think that trebuchet is about to fire. Is it? It's hard to tell. You normally have a little guy in the back going like, yeah, let's go. Anyway, nothing important's really happening. We just have Dale forming it up. There goes the first trebuchet shot. Sudden turn in that trebuchet for some reason. They can turn it really quick. Oh well. I'll finger the screenshot later. Probably just play for the battle again and find it. I won't let that disrupt my recording, but if the opportunity does arise, I will take a photo and you'll probably see it. Anyway, as you can see, Gondor, Eriador, and Mordor have all stopped fighting because Dale was sat in the back doing nothing. Nothing. What dead Dalesman. Mind you, Gondor heavy. Gondor Cav, even though it's generic, is still pretty dangerous. So as you can see, my forces are now moving across the map. You know, trying to make sure that the enemy is out overstretched, because I have no actual cause climbing up this hill, dealing with 3 armies and a trebuchet. Which is now out of ammo, funnily enough. And look at this. Here's Mordor complaining that I didn't support them. complaining that I didn't help them, complaining that I didn't do anything at all. I mean, look at that. That's a pile of dead Dalian bodies. Some dead, some dead. You know, I did stuff. It's unfair that Mordor thinks that that Mordor actually thinks that he made an impact on this battle. Because just the crap. This was not a kamikaze army. You should never design an army with the purpose of killing another army, but you yourself dying in the process. You should always expect to live. You should not expect to be ending up like one of these poor saps that ended up Mordor's command. And yes, I'm being unfair to Mordor, because they employed some pretty poor tactics. Because Mordor's army is now dead. I mean, J-Monster's lost a lot of men. Yeah, that does make sense. But, you know, it is now a freeway battle, or a free armies versus one. I mean, I got my men forming up here. They're very tired from all the walking they've done. I got my Dragon Slayers good to go. And now, it's just going to be a patient game of waiting. I mean, behind it all, the objective of this battle is to win 10k, which is a lot of money in the RP. So if you win, you get that money. So that's why everyone's fighting so hard over it. And I mean, yes, the bandits are still alive, and these two could kill them. But they're so uncertain of my intentions to win. They want me. This was the plan. Archangel would run in first under the assumption that Dale would support him. He would kamikaze his own army, right? His own army, and then Dale would be left fighting the bandits like Gondor did in this scenario. But Gondor, slowly moving up as it did, would be fresh, and Dale would just fall like lambs to the slaughter. That was their plan. And the only reason why I knew about this was because Archangel told me that he was not informed by his leader that this was the plan. And now, and here's the best bit, and now he had a kamikaze army that would run inside. So it was quite clear and on purpose that he threw away his forces. So I would have no ally, I would be beaten down by the bandits, and Gondor would just walk in and take the money. That was his plan. And I have no reason, no actual understanding why that was the plan. But now you can see the battle's begun. We have the actual bandits coming outside of their fort to engage me. We have some four-shell gatekeepers, led by Kuro-chan himself. Let's actually get into the battle and stop with the bitching, from my side at least. I mean, we have very few cavalry engagements going on the flanks. We have some Gondor knights supported by Mordor going in. We have Uruk archers waiting. We have the main infantry force from Gondor, depleted but not broken, preparing to fight. We have four-shell archers and the gatekeepers from Kuro-chan heading into battle with me. But as you can see, my Dalian archers, these are professional warriors. These are men who can fight with both bow and arrow seamlessly. They can fight. I can't think of any more than that. They're like the ocean with their arrows, and it's so natural changing between them. I'm sorry, I can't think of anything cool to say. But let's enjoy these earls just hammering into these gatekeepers, ignoring crossbow bolts as they do. As you can see, we have a cavalry engagement going on in the woods. We have some Mordor's archers shooting in. We have Gondor knights trying to pursue my earls. The earls being much slower cavalry, but the woodlands should provide some protection at least. This one unit of Dalian earls is certainly going the extra mile, overexerting themselves, but putting up a good fight nonetheless. And this is what they don't realize. J-Monster and Archangel, so caught up in trying to kill me, don't realize that it's the actual bandits who are manipulating this. Kuro, in a brilliant play, actively backstabbing his allies, forcing them away. Like, seriously, Gondor has all these forces here, ready to crush Kuro's best corps of units, but they don't. Because, guess what? He's microing in the woods, and we're having our little feud. Gondor's cavalry, stationed on the right flank, supported by Balrogs and orc archers and other nasty, nasty creatures. And here's Gondor, actively running around the bandits, who are still shooting into them. You see, they were calling me the one that was complaining. And I will tell you the truth, I was complaining. I have a right to complain. And you guys are currently watching this video, hearing me complaining. But I'm not complaining about them. I'm complaining about their choice of tactics, and which, yes, technically is them. But their choice of tactics was so horrendous, especially from Archangel. That was just terrible. We have the Earls still retreating in the woodland, you know, chased by this force of Gondor knights who are feeling pretty confident. They're like, yeah, look at this. Dally and Cav on the retreat. Yeah. That's a pretty cool shot. Actually, let's try and get it from this perspective. Ah, that worked out quite well. Come on, come on. I know. That's the last of them. So there's Dale. And as you can see, I successfully surround these Gondor knights. Well, yes, the Dally and Light Cav have proven ineffective. When supported with Earls, however, they have proved most effective, with a nice ambush going off. However, Archangel in his infinite wisdom keeps his Balrogs in reserve. In the meantime, Gondor's massive infantry just pushing on in. We have Earls actively retreating. I gotta be careful because Earls actually can, and will retreat. But you can see Citadel Guard going up against Dalian Marksmen. And these Marksmen, I mean, some of them are losing, but the other ones are winning like heroes. These are archers. They're not meant to go into close quarters, but look at them go, showing that this is Gondor's chaff. There is nothing better than a Dalian axe. Well, technically it's Dwarven, but nobody cares about the details. Got my cavalry on the run because now the lesser Balrogs are on the move, having to leave behind these poor Earls to cover the retreat, because they're getting shot by arrows. But these Earls' sacrifice will not be forgotten, as I got some of my elite Dragon Slayers preparing to shoot into these lesser Balrogs, which is exactly what I need. That's weird. Oh yeah, that was J-Monster General, because my general's here. But back on the main front where the fighting's the most intense, I'm doing some psycho charges. Kuro-Guro-chan successfully staying out of the fight, actively shooting into Gondor, still into the most valued unit of Gondor, and yet we're still all insistent upon fighting one another. I'm screaming out to them, saying, hey, you guys backstabbed me, and they're like, no, you didn't go in quick enough, so you backstabbed us. Got my Earls sort of charging, I suppose, into that. Not doing really well. I got some arrows, some really the death arrows of Dale just flying in, taking on these temple guards. And yes, these arrows are serving as bait, but they're serving as pretty damn good bait. So now we got the Dalian Marksmen just mopping up any resistance that comes to them. Nice unit of Lossarnarch nobles here, but my Dalian Marksmen just don't care, to be quite honest with you. I mean, to be honest, they just don't really care. Got the Earls here who are holding out quite well. I mean, these are veterans of Escalation, and these are tired out Earls, supported by Balrogs. So Dalian Marksmen preparing to take shots. We got the cavalry still going in and out from the rear here. And we're still all complaining. And this is the moment that Kuro plays it beautifully and just pulls back to the hill. Just pulls back to the hill. As we're all bickering. So, in some dramatic sense of irony, the defenders, who have all the money, have somehow managed to flip it onto the attackers. With all the attackers now fighting against one another. Mordor being dead. As you can see, quite literally dead. Dragon Slayers fighting Temple Guard and Balrogs. Got some archers shooting into the Balrogs as well. Main fight over here still somehow managing to go in Dale's favor from the looks of things. Like, yes, they're being shaken up, but well, the newly arrived veterans of Escalation will change the tide of the battle. There's no lies about it. We got a very small unit Citadel Guard trying to ward off this Dalian Cav, and this is where I reveal my trump card. This is where I reveal, yes, no wait, hold on. No, this is Kuro's unit. Because this is the Black Wards, who are hidden outside of the map. And none of us noticed this, because we're too busy trying to kill each other. So, now, it's really just ended up in a grudge match between all of us trying to justify who is right in that little pickle of a scenario back there. It's all of us kids trying to say, I'm better than you, whilst the real threat gathers strength. Just, you know, quietly, Kuro-Guro-chan, playing this game very wisely, just backs out of the fight very calmly. Just so, like, you know, you guys have your Balrogs, your Dalian marksmen, you got your Gondor infantry. I'm just gonna sit up on this hill. Quite a good strategy when you think about it. When you consider all the things, why would you want to get involved? We have a Dalian cavalry charge in here. These Earls trying to get these Uruks to rout so these Dalian marksmen can start shooting at the Balrogs again. As you can see, it wasn't really that successful. The Temple Guard, they did do a number on the Dragon Slayers. But the Dragon Slayers did get attacked and were attacked by Balrogs. And were shot by some arrows, I think. Can't really remember. The main battle not going so well for Dale. The last of the Dalian marksmen truly struggling. But you can't blame him. And yes, this is where I reveal my trump card. And is possibly, just possibly, my only hope of winning this battle. If I can find them. They should be around here. Ah, yes, here they are. You may not notice this, and if you're paying attention to the minimap, I had slipped away one unit of Dalian Light Cav during the initial engagements against Gondor. Hence why Gondor never found a cavalry force over there. And I am the only one making an invested effort trying to kill Kuro. Gondor and Mordor having successfully killed a good portion of my forces. You know, Balrogs are still fighting. We're still all trying to kill one another over who was right and wrong, whilst Kuro-Guro-chan wisely just says, I'm going back inside. So, you know, the defenders fought for this. Now they're fighting outside amongst themselves while Kuro-Guro-chan just reorganizes his defenses. And painfully enough, and not interestingly over there, this is where I make my mistake. Because I forgot that this unit of Cav was going after Black Wards. Painful, isn't it? Seeing all that nice, lovely, fresh Cav, just one micro mistake can truly change the game. So now the last of the Dalian marksmen, Dragon Slayers, still shooting in, somehow alive. Just trying to take pot shots when possible. They still have a good chunk of ammo left. The Dalian marksmen, Gondor, Mordor, just all wondering why. Why did we fight? What was the point in this fight? Was there any real benefit to this fight at all? Why did we fight? Because Kuro-Guro-chan still has his army. And if he wins, he gets to keep the 10k. He gets to keep all the money he's rightly earned stealing from people. Inverted commas. But now, oh boy. Now, in a sense of somewhat renewal, you know, Archangel still being a bit of a bad, not the smartest of people, insisting on fighting me because I didn't support him. Which, yes, from his view, may be valid, but from my view, he was an idiot for rushing all his forces in headlong first. You know, all that. But anyway, the battle's still going on. We got my Dalian Light Cap gonna make its vengeful return. Well, what remains of him from a unit of 50. Trying to kill anything they can. You know. Actually, Can't use any of these screenshots because of that. So you can see the cavalry charges don't do that much, but the Dalian marksmen, you know, they're trying. They're trying their hardest. I mean, yeah, I still hit Gondor as well. They do actually drop all my cav, interestingly enough. That just shows you how powerful Losanarch nobles can be. And of course, we still have some Wardens of Minas Ithil still hiding. We got Gondor's army still somehow alive. And yeah, Kuroguro-chan still alive. Somehow. Still breathing. Still having a good chunk. And we're still all fighting one another, trying to prove who's right and wrong. Especially with me and Archangel, because Archangel's just insistent upon killing me. So is J-Monster, but J-Monster's like, let's concentrate on the bandits. So, yeah. Kuroguro-chan having a good part of his elite army left, the 4-shell captains, and yeah, I mean, it's really just over. A lot of bloodshed over here caused, I mean, some people would say it was because King didn't move in first. Some people will agree with my point that Archangel and J-Monster were clearly in an alliance, and Archangel's dumb strategy of trying to push through here with all these orcs was just terrible. It was a terrible plan. And I'm not going to say anything personal to him, even though I'm kind of like Donald Trump, and I did say just like 10,000 things that were personal insults, essentially. He's kind of dumb. He's not the smartest kid on the block, is he? Because massive death Balrogs didn't assist his men in the initial assault. Temple Inquisitor archers, well, very good archers, didn't assist his men in the assault. Gondor, still very active, still very alive, possible chance of winning this? Can't win this. You know why? Massive unit of Blackwards hiding somewhere. Good, nice line of elite infantry. And yes, I still have this hidden trump card. You know, hiding. As we all now come to the mutual assumption that Archangel didn't hear the deal. And you know, I'm still very well aware that Archangel personally served his own interests in J-Monster. So now, you know, I'm like, okay, maybe I was wrong not supporting Mordor, just so we can progress it. And yes, I'm proposing that I'm the masterful negotiator here, instead of Kuroguro-chan, who essentially just backstabbed people, then moved away without any repercussions, for the time being. Archangel still insisting upon killing my general. I mean, it takes how many Balrogs? How many Balrogs? Too many. That's the answer. And you know, we just all came to the assumption of, okay, maybe we were wrong. We don't want the bandits to win. So why don't we do something about them? And you know, this is where Kuro sort of comes out of his fur and is like, yeah, let's have a party. Let's have a party. So, you know, if you're still alive, actively watching this video, good for you. Good for you. I truly appreciate that. I honestly do. As much as any other money-grabbing YouTuber. Because as long as you view, I get paid. So, for those of you sharp-eyed, had a good memory, and actually continued through my awesome rant against Archangel's poor choice of tactics, J-Monster's underhandedness, and really some self-begrudging I sat out because those two were meanies type of guy. I truly appreciate that. But you'll notice that 2 of my units are missing from the beginning. 2 units that could have helped actually avoid and cause or make this massacre a lot worse were missing. So, what were those 2 units? Why is Gondor not moving towards this forest? Maybe we should speed it up and find out, eh? Because this battle has nearly went on for a full, pointless 40 minutes. And there they are. There's those beautiful, wonderful, devious, scheming Swordmasters of Dale. 2 units. Completely healthy. All I have left is those guys. And Gondor and Mordor still insistent upon finding them and killing them. Whilst Kurogoro-chan has this massive army. So I actually have to admit that I'm sorry. I apologize, and I will now help them deal with this. Despite their miscontrived efforts, despite their poor choice in tactics, despite the fact that Kurogoro-chan played them, they're still insistent that I apologize, that I make the sacrifice. Which I happily do at this point, because, you know, nobody likes bandits. And screw Kurogoro-chan, he's win enough on Apollo's channel. Pixelated Apollo, I mean. So, I might as well, you know, cause him to die. But, you know, he reveals his other trump card. The Great Company. Nobody, you actually never noticed at the beginning of the battle you could deploy down these thin lanes, and the Grey Company can hide anywhere. AP Death Archers. The bane of these Balrogs, essentially. And I'm glad he's shooting at the Balrogs, because it's under Archangel's command. And you've seen Archangel's handiwork in this battle. I don't even consider him to be a threat. All you get instead is, you know, these massive Balrogs just gonna really die at these 4-shell captains. In the meanwhile, I'm worried about getting shot by these Grey Company. J-Monster does send some Gondor infantry across to sort of help with the situation. And I'm moving in my sword masters, you know, using these massive Balrogs, sort of like meat shields. But I do charge in to help them as he withdraws. You know? Grey Company shooting into my back, which is not something I want. Gondor moving around, dealing with this sort of like rearguard force of Kurogoro-chan. Trying to help best as possible, but I'm moving inside the settlement because I know there's this massive unit of black wards inside and I don't want to be shot by arrows. 4-shell captains backed up by 4-shell heavy archers having a massive screw you brawl. Some bandit javelins also left, going to provide some fire support if it weren't for these free Citadel Guard. Or Citadel Spear, I don't know, Citadel Guard. Causing them to actually break. Now Gondor, with its mass forces, still alive, still able. And of course, my sword masters now just beginning to retreat inside. Oh, I thought they were retreating anyway. To avoid arrow fire. Because my forces will make the strategic difference here. I know for a fact that Archangel's wasted his Balrogs and they are only good for fodder at this point. So J-Monster's going to use this time to try and chase down any other forces that Kuro has. I'm going to use this time to maneuver my men into such a position where I can deal with these black wards without having to worry about the Grey Company. And these Balrogs of Archangel doing what the only thing they can do at this point, serve as arrow bait for the Grey Company. So this battle really has went topsy-turvy, hasn't it? It started with 2 of the attackers attacking the defender then joining the attacker to fight the 3rd attacker, myself, which decided to stay out. And now all 3 attackers finally doing their job in a very close battle. But as you can see, my Dalian Swordmasters have been committed, and Deo Swordmasters are nothing to scoff at. These men are not born, they are made in combat. Wielding these 2-handed swords of death, these black wards, whilst formidable bandits for their class and cheapness, are simply no match for a Dalian sword. Of course, the Great Company is still alive, still shooting into the backs. 4-shell captains still dealing damage to those poor veterans of Escalation. If I know I'm jumping around too much, let's admire the combat a bit. Ah, look, some Losarak did survive to the end. They tend not to have high survivability rates, those Losarak. And now cavalry charges to the rear. Kuro attempting to do what he did against the orcs. But this time, I'm clever. You may notice that these Dalian Swordmasters, when they put down their swords like this, they scare away Cav. Why do they scare away Cav King? Because they have massive swords. And yes, he gets lucky with this charge. But these men, when they do get the counter charge, they decimate. good number of the Grey Company falling in return for the Sword Masters. And the Sword Masters themselves are doing completely fine here. Like, they're just doing grand against these Black Wars. Even I'm maneuvering back in, launching another charge just to the back of these Black Wars to extend that front. And I have nothing to worry about because Gondor is taking the beating from these Grey Company. None of my concern. I'm not concerned about it. It's their fault. Of course, there's still somehow in this woodland Archangel's general still alive. But I think that's glitched because he's dead. So now Grey Company coming back once again to try and save their Black Ward allies. Well, thankfully they call off their assault though. They might have actually killed my men there. Four Shell Wardens withdrawing as Gondor pulls back, waiting for me to do all the heavy lifting once again in this battle. But I pull back because I don't want to be psycho-charged. I want to try and lure him in to his own stakes where my beloved cavalry fell, which would be incredibly useful at this point, but I was impatient. So now, in this battle, Dale is being complained at. Some people will think because Dale was camping in the corner, and yes, people do camp in the corner. It's a valid strategy. You know? Why wouldn't you want to camp in a corner where your supposed ally just wasted all his men and then a third party walks in practically unharassed whilst you're assaulting? Nah, that ain't my style. As you can see, the Grey Company trying to sneak in, but J-Monster providing sort of a gate warding detail for me as I tell my sword masters to charge out, to try and catch the enemy down, which they do actually successfully. So now the Grey Company, horribly outpositioned, can only watch as my elite sword masters deal with these remaining bandits. And yes, the four shell captains will withdraw outside, and there is a timer on this battle, so if the timer goes down, the bandits win, which you may think unfair considering how much work is done here. But you see the men of Dale just launching an assault on these poor bandits of Guro-Kuro-chan, even ignoring some at this point, so they can kill the four shell ward captains. Cavalry in the center, just waiting, just chilling for their opportunity to strike. Of course, I call off my Dalian Swordmasters. If Kuro had struck there, they would have routed. But because I withdrawed, took the risk, my men can recover.
Our men have fought long and are becoming tired.
You'd really think so, wouldn't you? J-Monster still alive, still kicking. And Dale doing all the heavy lifting. You know, I'm fighting the four shell captains that decimated his infantry. And, you know, I feel as if that when this video, if this video goes up on other channels, and at the time, I was getting, you know, hassled for no good reason. Yes, I did camp in a corner. But that's because Archangel was an idiot enough to tell me that he was going to ally with J-Monster. He practically said to my face, I don't know the deal, but I've told J-Monster, but we still want you to support me in an assault that I'm going to kamikaze. What sense does that make? And now it's really the final climactic battle between the four shell captains and the gatekeepers. Or, no, Dale Sword Masters. And as you can see, it's a bitter battle where the Grey Company just constantly attack. And at this point, I'm like, J-Monster, leave me. I'm going to kill these four shell captains for you as an apology. And then, you know, then I'm just going to be done with this battle. Because, honestly, if you had heard the chat during this, and you were from my perspective, you'd understand why you're pissed. You missed Game of Thrones, the newest episode. That was pretty damn good. Go and watch it. Season 7, Episode 5, Spoil of Wars. Best episode of that season by far. So far, at least. Don't spoil it. And, you know, your best men are getting assaulted, and everyone's calling you a coward, a cheat, and a liar. You kind of get tired of this shit. You know? You really do. And here's Gondor, sitting all nice and pretty. And here's Dale, fighting its heart out once again for undeserving men. I say that, and now they charge. You know, just as the four shall die out. As the last few remaining sword masters duel with the four shall. In this epic battle, where just two-handed elite sword wielders are having... It's like Guts on Guts, if you ever watched or seen that anime. It's like Guts fighting Guts. And here comes the cavalry, but they are stopped by this heroic effort of the sword masters. Sadly enough, the sword masters not able to do that much damage because of how slow their attacks are due to the two-handed animation. But they do a lot of damage. As you can see, the last of the four shadow captains of Kuroguro-chan finally going down. Very long battle, but another cavalry charge comes in. And it's just this repetitive cycle. And like, this is what you gotta call mechanics. This is just like mechanic abuse right here. Whilst yes, it's a valid strategy, it should be frowned upon because would light cavalry like that really do that much damage with those short swords? You know? And now Gondor, as the last man of Dale routs, runs and dies, finally intervene. And, you know, I have to hand the victory to Gondor. They played their cards right. They were always on the winning side in this battle. My poor Dalesmen, not even going to get the credibility of staying alive. They're just going to be hunted down because they camped in a corner. So yeah, you know, four shell captains dying. I mean, I am speeding it up, but I think you know where this battle's going. Go for a shell captain, go. You can kill. Oh, no, he's dead. So yeah, this battle nearing a close. So who do you think got the most kills? You know, who do you think got the most kills? Was it Gondor, maybe? Was it Mordor charging heroically? I say heroically because I can't put any more mean words in front of it without hurting his feelings anymore. Or would it be Dale somehow? Maybe it's even Eriador for fighting all three of the armies at all times. Thankfully, he does stop with the cycle charges and just sits there. Quite happily. Just dying. And as you can see, it was Gondor that took the victory. I mean, it was a good battle. Nonetheless, I hope you enjoyed my commentary, and I forgive if there were moments of brief anger towards certain players. But I really do hope that you enjoyed the battle nonetheless. It was a good battle. It was just, you know, you didn't want to be in the chat actively at the time. It was one of those ones. Good to watch, but not good to hear if you were involved. So, you know, this is my perspective, whatnot. I'm allowed to say what I want, etc., 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 and Gondor won. It was a long, hard-fought battle. There was many dead. But as you can see, Mordor didn't pull its weight. Kuroguro-chan got the most kills. Then it was Dale. Gondor infantry scored a lot of kills. I didn't actually know that. Huh. So don't forget to comment, subscribe, and all that jazz. And I'll see you next time as I put on another Thrid Reforged battle, hopefully.